of the 14U team last season in which Stephen was on. So we're going to go through and have a number of speakers, number of guests. The 14U team will come out as well. Lori will come out as well. So again, today's all about honoring Stephen. So first I'd like to introduce my wife. She'll come up and say a few words.
Well, this is a little intimidating and powerful at the same time. Okay, I'm going to try to read this letter that I wrote. I want to first, of course, say thank you for being here. Thank you for coming together. Thank you for supporting the Pirolli family over the past year. It is amazing how the power of people's presence can bring such a bright light. We are gathered here today to pay honor and tribute to Stephen, one of our Crush players, a 13-year-old who is a great young man off the field and a fierce competitor on the field. I want to share with you what I have learned about this young man in my many conversations with Lori and her family. Stephen was a stellar baseball player. His passion met purpose on the field and was a force to be reckoned with. He began playing baseball at the age of 4 with his dad. You could find Stephen Sr. either coaching or on the sidelines with his boy. Playing his favorite positions as pitcher, outfielder, and filling in second when needed, he never made it easy for his opponents. Besides baseball being his main side hustle, you could also find him watching his favorite player, Bryce Harper, playing for his favorite team, the Phillies. You might find him gaming or rocking out with his band, sometimes even on stage right down the street at Mainstream, playing songs from his favorite bands, Machine Gun Kelly, 38 Special, and Seven Nations Army. What would a typical 13-year-old love to eat? Well, of course, pizza, cheeseburgers, and a cold Dr. Pepper suited Stephen just fine. Cool fact about Stephen, he was actually selected for the introduction of the MLB The Show 18 pitching to Bryce Harper. So definitely worth rewinding multiple times if you want to see him there. I wish we had all day to talk about this remarkable young man, but instead we will celebrate, honor, and always remember Stephen. Again, thank you for coming together and being here to celebrate number 16 and the legacy he leaves with our Crush family.
All right, at this time I'd like to ask 3 of Stephen's coaches, and there were so many that, we're very fortunate as a Crush family, as we all know, to have so many talented coaches on the staff that come up and down and work with all of our age groups. But 3 in particular that worked with Stephen, Coach Nick, Coach Chad, and Coach Caleb.
Thank you, Jen, and thank you, Greg, for helping organize this. Thank you all, Crush family, for coming out and showing your support. And thank you, Lori, and the rest of the Pirolli family for being here. It is really good to see you guys. I can't believe it has been a year. I know I am speaking for our coaches too when I say not a day goes by that we do not think of Stephen. I know every time I see a hard-throwing right-hander striking someone out, I think of Stephen. When I see the freshman team practicing, it feels like he's out there with them. I think a lot of his teammates feel that way too. We think of him every day. I can see Stephen playing on these fields with his dad, proudly cheering and coaching him from a distance. As the spring begins, Little League and high school seasons are starting. Steve's Phillies are reporting to spring training soon. At this time of the year, it really feels like they are in our presence. The beginning of baseball season will always be their time.
Thank you everybody for coming out today to remember and celebrate Steve and Stephen. Steve was truly a genuine and kind man. Coach has made so many parents over the years, but Steve was one who stood out to me as a guy who simply cared about others and wanted the best for his kid. Steve was a talented baseball player who competed at a high level into college, and the coaches all appreciated how he would work with Stephen while understanding and respecting any instructions the coaches offered to Stephen. The bond between Steve and Stephen was undeniable, especially on or near a baseball field. Stephen Jr. was himself a strong baseball player who always had the ability to pitch well and was developing into a great hitter too. The trip Stephen's team took to Cooperstown his 12-year-old season was an awesome week of baseball. Stephen's pitching led us to 2 playoff wins on our last day, starting one game and throwing a solid inning before we took him out. We had the big lead, we ended up winning that game, and then started and pitched into the 4th inning the next game, a game we would end up also winning. My favorite highlight was the home run derby. We chose Stephen to be our hitter, believing he would step up and compete in the moment under some pressure. Hitters were only given 5 outs, and Stephen's first couple swings resulted in outs. Then, sure enough, he hit a homer, then another, and by the 5th out, he hit 4 homers, which placed him and our team 4th out of the 60-plus teams that were there participating. The last time I got to coach Stephen in a game was in a scrimmage game with his 14U crush team here at the Poway High Freshman Field. During COVID protocols, parents were not allowed to come into the school to watch, but Steve was set up way out in deep center out here outside of the fence to watch Stevie. Late in the game, Stephen turned on a pitch and hit it over the fence for a grand slam, an impressive swing, and even more so for only an 8th grader at the time on a high school field. As Stephen rounded first, he looked out towards his dad out in the center and flashed the I love you sign to him as he rounded the bases. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming today to honor the life of Steve and Stephen Pirolli as we try to make both of them permanent members of the Crush family. As you know, an organization is only as good as the people that make it up. Crush has become a great organization partly because we try to put the development of the kids first, but mainly because of great people like you. As we all know, the time that we had with Stephen was way too short. And I'm reminded that we are all here only for a short time. And we should enjoy every second of that time with the people we love and doing the things we enjoy. As we all cherish the time that we had with Stephen, there are no words to fill the void from their departure. But we are all better people for having known them. A little about Stephen. When I first started coaching their team, I wasn't sure if he was an infielder or an outfielder, but I knew he was a ball player. He had the drive and desire that no one can coach. And although I did not know Steve very well, I was pretty sure that's where it came from. So when one of his teammates went down, he was the first to jump in and fill that spot. He played a great second base for the team and continuously improved his hitting. He developed into a great ball player and an even better young man. Although I only had the opportunity to speak with Stephen's dad on a couple occasions, I got the sense that he was involved, but not overly involved. And he wanted the best for his son. He was a great example of the Crush parents and the people that make this organization what it is today. Steve had a special relationship with Stephen, and they will always be remembered and honored by the Crush family. I am thankful to have known both of them, if only for that short time. Thank you.
And at this time, I'd like to bring up someone who, over the course of the last year, if you've ever spent time with her, she amazes you with her strength and her grace. Lori Pirolli and family.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of my family, I want to thank the San Diego Crush baseball organization for retiring Stephen's baseball jersey, number 16. And thank everyone who came out this morning. For those of you who didn't know Stephen, he was our only son. He was smart, funny, talented, determined, focused, and all around a good kid. Besides baseball, Stephen was in a band, and the name of his band was called The Law Will Never Catch Me. Stephen was the lead vocalist and guitarist, and oftentimes the band played at Mainstream Bar and Grill here in Poway. Stephen also trained for many years at Prosodius Athlete, which then was called Velocity. There he developed skills as far as skills training for him to become a better athlete. When Stephen was, sorry, I'm a little nervous. However, Stephen's main focus and love was baseball. Stephen started playing baseball at the age of 4 years old, and he was the youngest kid in Rancho Bernardo Little League at the time. Steve, my husband, coached Stephen all throughout Little League and also in All-Stars. When Stephen aged out at Little League, he desired to play travel baseball. So Stephen tried out for a few teams, and he also tried out for the Crush. I recall asking Stephen, how did tryouts go? And he said, Mom, he goes, I really had a fun time, and I really liked the kids that I tried out with. So later on that week, Stephen made the team. My husband, Steve, was very impressed with the San Diego Crush. He knew that Stephen was with the right team because he was being coached by skilled people. Steve was a firm believer that Stephen needed to learn the mechanics and the techniques and how to play baseball. Steve even said it wasn't always about winning the game. It's how you played. From his own experience, Steve would become a better baseball player. Not long after Steve was selected for Crush, Steve saw his progress. Over time, Stephen became a better outfielder, a better infielder, a better hitter, and a better pitcher. So here's a fun fact about Stephen, and for those of you kids that dress up for game day, and whether it be your gold jersey, your green jersey, your black jersey, or even the white one, Stephen coordinated his uniform. Okay, he made sure that his arm sleeve matched his uniform. He made sure that his cleats matched as well. And another thing about Stephen, he would come out and rock his Bryce Harper haircut, and then he put a hat on it. As I reflect on the experiences of being a baseball family, I realize we are part of a tight community. Not only did we win games and lose games, but we were all together and we shared that experience. One lifetime experience that we shared was going to Yuma. We went to Yuma, Arizona. And as a team and as a family, we went after a tournament. We decided to go down and tube down the Colorado River. And another trip that we made as a team, and it was one of the best experiences, we traveled to Cooperstown. We went to the Baseball Hall of Fame, and our boys played a week-long tournament and battled and won many games. Stephen was selected by Coach Caleb to participate in the home run derby. We were so excited watching him hit. And he hit 4 home runs. And Steve was one proud dad that day. Over this last year, I appreciate all you team moms that would text and call me and invite me out to the games. I attended many games, I would wear my son's t-shirt and bring along with me my son's baseball bag. One of the most comforting feelings was when one of Stephen's teammates would take Stephen's baseball bag and hang it up in the dugout. Being present at his games made me feel that my son Stephen was there with them. And I could see him out there, out on the mound, out there in the outfield. And I can feel my husband's presence being there with me. I can just remember Steve at many games yelling out while Stephen was pitching, and he would say, "Win the battle. Win the battle." So yesterday marks 1 year that Steve and his dad, my husband Steve, were tragically and selfishly taken away from me, from our family, and from our community. If you're not aware, Steve and Stephen were killed by a person who was driving 90 miles per hour in front of a stroller. And he was under the influence of marijuana and Xanax. And he also didn't have a driver's license. Since this day, I've had a lot of people ask me if I need help. Or is there something I can do for you? Or what else can I do? And there is something I do need help with. We've determined that the kind of help that you can give us is, and I'm asking if you can write a letter. If you can write a letter as an individual or as a group, and how my husband and son's lives impacted your life. So those letters will serve as your voice to show the court the crime against Stephen and how it's impacted our community. In closing, my family and I want to thank everyone who came out this morning to honor Stephen. Thank you for all you baseball players who are wearing number 16. And also I do want to thank Avery Anderson, who plays Poway baseball, who wore number 16 last year for baseball season. I also want to thank Jackson Huntley, who plays college baseball and that's wearing number 16. I do want to thank my family and friends and the Crush families for being supportive and being helpful. Thank you.